All right, it is Wednesday, October 25, 12:40 p.m. I'm wrapped up for the day. As you can see, a red day. For anyone watching for the first time, this is where I do my wrap-up review of my trading day. This channel is dedicated to documenting my new strategy that I use on the ES futures and win or lose, just keeping track of the stats. And it's essentially a big experiment to just see where the strategy can take me. I used to be a MacPats price action trading system trader I've been using that system for 3 years, and I just hit a brick wall where I wasn't able to maintain profitability. And so I came up with a new system and strategy based on a indicator that I use just off to the left of the screen here, that I get my signals from, that I've made my own personal setups based on rules and conditions that have been working for me. This is the middle of my 6th week recording on YouTube. And as you can see, I'm 33 and 6 overall for about 85%. And in the breakdown of my other setups, the LO is now 16 and 4 for 80%. PB is 12 and 1 for 92%. And the OJ got its first loss today for 5 and 1, 83%. And it's a reminder that, no matter what strategy or setups you take, nothing is ever going to be 100%. Everything loses. I hadn't even seen OJ when all the rules are correct. I haven't even seen it lose in playback or sim or any back testing, forward testing of any kind. So this was the first loss I've seen where all the rules were in place, but it just didn't give the win. What I like to talk about is, sticking to the rules no matter what the outcome. And, today I can honestly say that all 3 of my trades fit the rules on the entries, and they were all trades I was supposed to take. And the bummer for today was that my 2 wins really didn't count for much, and that's why I'm red today. My 2 wins were just +1 trades, and I'll get into that in a minute and talk about that specifically. But as you can see, for my PA accounts combined, I'm trading 3 PA accounts so far. They were down $523 combined, and I'm trading 7 evaluation accounts, and you can see that as well on the R Trader for Rhythmic for Apex. And that combined was minus $2,442. And, don't love posting these about red days, but they do happen. And, the thing that's easy to forget is it sounds like a big number when you're looking at like, oh, minus $2,400, but really that's the combined amount of all the accounts. Really, it's a small red day. I lost $174 per account on the PA, and I lost $348 per account on the evaluations. So it's not make or break stuff. It's really just a small red day. The disappointing thing is if I had gotten my full 6 or 8 tick scalps on my 2 winners, it would have been a break-even day. It would have been essentially flat, maybe slightly green by dollars or pennies or something. But it is what it is. Let me show you the day. It was very frustrating, and I'm looking forward to finishing this video fast and wrapping it up and being done with the day. And so let's get into it. All right, so I started the day at about 6:50, right around here. We had already had more than 2 moves down, no matter how you look at it. And so when I was starting, I was thinking, okay, maybe that could be the end of the move, or maybe it's just going to be one of those really bad sell-off days, which is ultimately what it turned out to be. And about 10 minutes into my trading day, a perfect OJ setup occurred. The OJ signal bar was this bar, and on the close, once it ticked 2 ticks underneath, I entered right away for 1 tick underneath this bar. And it immediately worked in my favor. It went down, as you can see on this candle, and I must have still been groggy from just waking up and starting my day or something. I was definitely very tired this morning, as I usually am, and entered the trade. And when it got down here and it started bouncing back up, and on this next candle started bouncing back up, I thought it had gone 7 ticks, and one of my rules is that once the trade goes 7 ticks, I try to put in my stop at +1 to lock in a win and make sure I don't get a loss. And it was my mistake here. It had only gone 6 ticks, not 7, and so it's unfortunate. It's a little frustrating because if I had realized it had only gone 6, I wouldn't have moved my stop yet. There was really no reason to. It was only I was on the next bar of my trade, so I rarely move it that fast, and just miscalculated. Thought it was 7 ticks. It was only 6. It came back up, stopped me out for +1, and then of course shot down, and I would have got a full 8 ticks scalp, no problem. That should have absolutely been an 8 tick scalp. The only thing I'd say here, I followed all my rules. I believed I was following my rule for the +1, moving the stop. So I was attempting to do that. But I think it's just, again, fear of losing and wanting to lock in, making sure that a win doesn't turn into a loss. It's just a little bit too quick to want to just take the risk off. And I have to do a better job of centering myself and making sure that when I enter a trade, I know the risk, and the risk is what the risk is. The stop goes above here, and I don't move it unless it does go 7 ticks. And even then, I typically don't move it until the bar is getting close to closing, so that if it looks like it's, considering, this was going into where there was previous support, I want to make sure that it looks like it's going to be a bull bar next, that it might bounce up. As you could see, it was nothing like a bull bar. It was just another bear bar, and there was no reason to get out at that time. Even, if this had gone 6 ticks, and even if it pulled back like it did, there's no reason for me to move the stop at that point if I had seen things clearly. So that's a unfortunate win that I didn't get my full scalp. And then there was an LO that I missed. It happened really fast. It looked like it was going to be an inside bar. Turned out it wasn't. And I should have entered. I hesitated. Would have worked perfectly. Went sideways for quite a while. Just no trades, nothing going on. And then there was a LO, gold LO that set up. I thought it looked a little strange. It, again, was going into the lows. I just made a judgment call to not enter it. And I drew these lines here because this is where the potential stops were. Now, to enter this trade, the stop was supposed to go here. It was like a 13-point stop, which I didn't like, and decided it wasn't worth the risk. The other place it could have gone is here, potentially. I could have made an argument for that based on my indicator. Where it should not have gone, but the least risk I could have taken was to put it here. Now, this did trigger me in if I was going to take it, and then it had 2 legs pull back. And if I had gone scared while I was in that trade and tried to take risk off because it looked like a losing trade, I would have got hit right here, and it ultimately would have worked. Now, if I had my stop in the original place it belonged, if I was in the trade, or if I had it here where it made sense it could have also been, which was like 4 points less, it actually would have not got stopped out and eventually would have worked. But from the time I would have entered this trade to the time it would have worked was like a half hour. So that would have been a half hour of misery. Not that I didn't end up miserable anyway, but it would have ultimately worked if I didn't mess around with the stop and just leave the stop where it's supposed to be, which I got to try to do. So then there was another LO. This one was more subjective, so it's a white one. I skipped it for that reason, and it would have ultimately worked as well after a pullback. Very similar to this one, not as steep, but looks very similar. Ultimately would have worked, no problem. Well, some problems, but would have worked. So then it gets me to this point of the day, a little after 11 o'clock this morning, and been very patient all day. It's funny, I was just saying on my live recording of my trading session that if I had ended the day with just a +1 tick day for a small green day, I would have been fine with it. I was saying how I was content with that. And then boom, OJ setup occurred. And now the one thing here was I was expecting a second measured move up. I had it here at the time. And so when this set up and turned down and gave me the OJ setup, it took me off of the thought that there would be a second leg up. And so I entered the trade. The reality is, the reality is that this fit all the rules. There was nothing wrong with this trade. And again, this is another reason why I'm saying stick to the rules no matter what the outcome, right? Because if you don't take the trade based on the rules, then you know what are we doing? It's like, especially a setup like this where before today I was 5-0. It was a perfect. As of this morning I was 5-0. Before today I was 4-0, but I hadn't lost with it yet. It's a new setup of mine since last week, but there's no reason to not take it. I was feeling very confident about the setup. It had already worked once earlier today, and just felt like, okay, it went 2 ticks. It triggered me in. No reason to not take it. Well, it turns out that I was right in my initial thought that there would be a second leg up. It just started from a little bit lower than I was thinking it would, and it went to a perfect measured move. Now, because of that, I was like, okay, took the loss, accepted it, didn't move my stop, left it where it belonged, got stopped out exactly where I was supposed to get stopped out. And then the PB set up right behind it. Now, I usually don't like to take a trade right away, but it was perfect PB, fit the rules. I was sure of it. I had checked everything. And so there was no reason, again, to not enter the trade other than just the bad feeling of just losing right before it. So I took the trade, and it was struggling to go up. It was looking like it was going to be good. I had the measured move, and that was the target, and so it seemed like it should be good. Now, the thing on this one is it actually did get to 7 ticks right here. The top of this bar was 7 ticks, and so my rule is, especially on these sorts of trades, if it hits 7 ticks and it looks like the next bar is going to close bearish, I have to put in my +1 stop and get out of the trade. And it's just because I've seen these things rocket down the other way. And in this case, it did go lower just to bounce up, hit the measured move to the exact tick, would have got my 8 tick scalp, and then it rocketed down like I was concerned about. So the other thing I might as well mention here while I'm wrapping up is that I used to call these break even +1. That's something I got from Mac's price action trading system. He would say, move your stop to break even +1 for like a runner, those kinds of situations. And so I've been using that term in this trading journey on YouTube. But the reality, and for the ease of keeping track of the stats, is the reality is this is a winning trade. It's not a great winning trade. I got 1 tick. It's nothing to be excited about, but it's not a loss, and it's not break even. It literally was a profitable trade by $8 or whatever it is, right, on one contract. So I'm gonna call these wins from now on. They're not break even +1. They're just +1, and it's an insurance policy to move it to +1 when it goes 7 ticks, and that's part of my rules, and I am sticking to my rules despite whatever the outcome. So again, as I said earlier, I think 2 wins, 1 loss today. Oh, and something funny. So then I was being patient. I wanted to end the day early today, but because of getting this loss, I really wanted to give myself a chance to get another trade. And of course, I stopped according to my rules right at 12:30, right here, and just before 12:30, and it had already basically reached a measured move. And I said, okay, I'm not going to break any rules today. I'm going to end this. And of course, I mean, it's like you can't make this stuff up. Right after I ended, this was my BT, this was my LO, and it would have worked for perfect 8-tick scalp, or 6. I would have got 8 or 6 ticks no matter what, for sure. It worked right away. And of course, I wasn't here to stick around long enough because it was after the period of time where I say I no longer will trade for the day. So again, frustrating. Could have got half of my losses back on that one trade. It is what it is. So got to stick to your rules, got to take the trade setups when they happen. I'm a little bit flustered on my LO setup. In general, when it doesn't look perfect, I'm not sure if I should take them or not, and they seem to be working out more than they don't. Granted, there were some big pullbacks, so do I want to get myself into that mess and have the stress? Probably not. So I need to do some more work on the LO. Having said that, it is still 16-4 and 80%, so it's not bad. I'd rather it be 90%. I believe my trades should all work out to be about 90% or better in the long run, but we'll have to see and test it and see how this goes. I'm only up to 39 total trades, so it's a very small sample size. And just real quick, getting back to the accounts, as you can see here, my primary concern on my P accounts is number 3, which has been the closest to a payout. The other day I was at 26,400 before the loss, my first loss this week. So I was only 2 trades away from a payout. And then this morning before my loss, I was only, I think, two or 3 trades away from the payout. So I'm now, less than $600 away from the payout, which is, it's basically going to be about 5 or 6 trades. And, I've got plenty of room to the threshold here, over $1,000, almost 1,100. So not in any danger, on any of the, see, it's over 1,000 here, 1,100 on this one, 1,000 here. So all of my PAs are in good condition as far as the trailing drawdown. And the same goes for all of my evaluations that are active. Not in danger on trailing on anything. So despite the red day, despite kind of the frustration of the day, having 2 wins and not getting the full profit for them, getting a loss for the first time on a setup that's been working really great overall since I've been tracking it. Tough pill to swallow to be red, but better to take the small loss and live to fight another day than blowing up accounts. The system does keep me from trading, like revenge trading. On Pat's system, this would have been a revenge trade if I was trading Pat's system. If it was like, oh, I took a second entry short and it failed, and then I try to get in for second entry long or something like that. In this system, it's impossible to revenge trade. It's either a setup or it isn't. And I can't take a trade if it's not a setup. And I'm just very disciplined to not take trades unless they are set up, minus my goof yesterday, if you saw that, where I entered a trade by accident thinking it was a setup and then realizing right after I got in that it didn't qualify. So that can happen, but in this case, this was a perfect setup, fit the rules. It wasn't a revenge trade, and it was just unfortunate that it went 7 ticks instead of being like the first trade to only go 6 ticks. I wouldn't have had to move my stop yet, and I would have been able to get the full 8-tick scalp. So I think that says it all for today. This video is longer than I was hoping it would be. Done for today and ready to move on to the next day. So let's hope we can finish out the week strong. I really want to try to work towards getting a payout on this number 3 account. And I really would like to follow it up soon after on this account with a payout. And that's my near-term goal, as well as passing some more evaluations. And hopefully we'll finish out the week strong. Right now we're on track for my first red week on YouTube, 6 weeks in. So I'm going to need about 4 trades, I believe, to come out break even at the end of the week. Got 2 days left. I believe 5 trades gets me solidly into the green. So it's possible, but we'll have to see how it goes. This may be my first red week. Red weeks can happen. I'm still green overall for this strategy on YouTube. So we'll have to see how it goes. Of course, if I get another loss this week, that may change things. I'll have to do the calculations, but right now everything is solidly in the right direction despite today's red day. All right, that's it for me. Thanks for watching. Anyone that is looking to buy Apex accounts, 90% off the evaluation for the first month and 80% for any renewing months after that. You can use this code. It's good till November 7th for the 90% discount. It's kind of a surprise that they did this early. And thanks for watching. Please do subscribe and like if you're interested in this content. And I think that will wrap me up for the day. Thanks. Be back tomorrow.